So today we continue with our class Halachos of Brochos. And we start with Sefer Shmiras Haloshon. And today's topic is daily pursuit. Okay. So it says, it is imperative for one to approach a complacent attitude toward a certain mitzvahs. Doing so is crucial if one is to fulfill his obligation toward the Creator and toward his fellow men. Okay. So it's very interesting. So as Torah says in Dvarim, if you person ever read Dvarim, so Hashem said, you must observe all of my mitzvahs. Right? All of them. He used to say, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? That's from Perk Yovas, right? And if I'm not for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? It's from Perk Yovas 1:14. If he was wont to repeat this maxim, surely it must contain teaching, which are fundamental for one divine service and purpose in life. In fact, Hill is awakening to us approach the Torah and awakening us to approach Torah and mitzvahs with alacrity and zeal each and every day. Right? So it says clearly, Rashi says, why does it Torah says, I give you this Torah today? What do you mean? We don't say for Dvarim. What Torah? What today? We were given Torah 39 years ago, 40 years ago. 39. Right? So why it say today? So Rashi explains, you have to approach all of the mitzvahs with alacrity. So today is a new day. Today I have a new opportunity to perform the mitzvahs. And, including, of course, this critical mitzvahs, right? As we said, speaking or not speaking Lashon Hara, and watch your mouth. Okay. So Torah mitzvah with alacrity, zeal, each and every day. When man is seen refraining from day-to-day involvement with earning a livelihood, the logical question is, how does he support his family? One more time. When man is seen refraining from a day-to-day involvement with earning a livelihood, the logical question is, how does he support his family? Right? So okay, so he's not working. So this guy is always home, right? Always home. Like how is he? Maybe he's stealing. Maybe he's a crook. Maybe this. Maybe that. Right? A variety of possibility exists. Maybe he owns. So it's a little older book, right? So it was written. It's from days of Chafetz Chaim. Right? Today, many people working from home, so there's no problem, right? But even in olden days before working from home, right? So it says a variety of possibilities exist. He may own a factory which is staffed by dependable workers, so that periodic involvement on his part is sufficient. Very possible. So we're talking about before internet, before emails, all of these things. Okay. So in the days of Chafetz Chaim. Okay, so he has a God-fearing manager, let's say in this factory. From time to time he comes, check papers, right, investigation, everything is kosher, no problem. Next one. He may be a highly skilled professional who earns enough in a few hours of work to provide his family with the weekly needs, right? As our great rabbis were jewelers, right? They work on diamonds. I'm not sure how many diamonds. Like maybe even one diamond, maybe a day, that would be enough, or in a few days. So they would have enough money. Would make enough money. Next one, he may be merchant who does business only at the regional market, which is open for you weeks at the time, at the regular intervals during the year. So that's even today you have, for example, in the Jewish world, you have this Esrog and Lulav, right? They I'm not sure how much money they make, but I think they make a lot of money, right? Even if they throw out maybe 25% because they did not sell, it's unbelievable how much they make. So, but they work only. Of course they they involved in growing, like shipping, all these things. Okay, but how long is it? The whole process, I don't know, maybe months out of the year. That's it. So, but then he can live from this for the rest of the year. But it's only seasonal. So if you see this person 11 months a year doing exactly nothing, I mean, whatever, not working, right? So that does not mean that he's a thief, right? Continue. In the above cited Mishnah, Hill teaches that with regard to divine source, none of the above mentioned possibilities exists. And so you cannot just do a few mitzvahs and lay on the couch and that's it. I'm done for today. There's no such a thing in working for Hashem. Nothing less than a daily pursuit of the spiritual accomplishment will suffice. So with Hashem, with the mitzvahs, every day, from the beginning of the day till the end of the day, whatever is on your way, whatever is bothering you. So somebody told me like that a person got addicted to news and he was watching YouTube and I don't know what's going on in the world, scary, not scary, interesting. And the person said, I cannot stop. So what I told him, I said I have a solution. So I said, how you watch? He watched on YouTube. I said I have a solution. So he said, I'll do whatever. So I told him delete the app, and he deleted the app tonight, like an hour ago or so. Okay, we'll see how it works, but that's it. So you have a stumbling block. Remove the stumbling block. So get close to Hashem. Stop here. Okay, so we continue with our very interesting topic, which is bread, right? What is hamotzi, right? What is hamotzi meaning? What is actual bread? So this. So let me just go a little back. So we're in a section number 3, and the topic was products made from bread. For example, bread kugel. So originally it was bread, but then they recook it to something else, right? Bread kugel, right? Then we said the French toast, and we say how we make a French toast. You see, put pieces of bread, put it in egg, fry it on a frying pan, and that's how you get French toast. So, and some kind of cooked bread. Right, so and we said if if size is bigger than kizais, meaning it's recognizable as bread, so it's 100% hamotzi. I mean it was cooked. There is no problem because originally it was bread. If it's less than kizais and cooked in a liquid, right? So according to our sages, so some of them, so we said it is no longer classified as a bread, so you say Mezonos on it. Right? Or we said deep fry. So deep fry, we said when oil completely covers bread, right? Or some other things, but here we're talking specifically about bread, so it's considered to be cooked, right? Then we said the different scenario when pan fried with little or no oil. So in this case, we said it's 100% hamotzi, 100%. That's how they make pitas. I mean, at home, right? You want a homemade pita, that's how you make, or some other breads, right? Continue. So and some Jews that came from Middle Eastern country, from Lebanon. That's I know some Lebanese Jews, so they do beautiful bread, and that's how they told me they do on the top of the on the frying pan, unbelievable, very tasty, right? So in this case, 100% bread. Then next one we say that he fries with some oil, so it's more than what is needed for a bread not to stick to the pan on one hand, but on another hand it does not cover. So we said it's halakhic uncertainty. So it's in some say it is it is actually like a bread. Some said no, it's actually cooked, even though it's not covered. This and that. Okay, so it's not so simple. So I say try to avoid this scenario, not to eat this kind of food, and actually do what should you do? Wash your hands on a real bread, 100%. Eat a little, then eat this kind of food during the meal. Okay. Well, then number 2, we said cooked bread pieces larger than kezayis. So we said that's 100% bread. We will wash our hands, say hamotzi and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. So example that we get is deep this French toast. Okay. Okay. Of course, I mean it's larger than kezayis. So I mean we used to do it when we were little. It's quick food, very tasty, very filling, and so you put the whole slice of bread. It's not like nobody did pieces. You do the whole slice of bread. Okay. Okay. So next one is matzah meal. So what is the matzah meal? So I mean we're doing it ourselves the matzah meal. So you take a matzah and grind it with a grinder. We do it in what is it? Where we do it? We bought the coffee grinder. The cheapest way to grind the matzah. I mean the cheapest that doesn't take my space. You didn't need special equipment, right? And you use it only for Pesach, right? Okay, so that's it's called matzah meal. So in some sense you're doing it from bread. So matzah is a bread, right? And then you grind it. Okay, so continue. So let's see. Bread or matzah, even if ground into fine particles, are still considered bread. Thus, in the unlikely event that one wishes to eat a plain uncooked matzah meal, matzah flour, right, or breadcrumbs, he is required to make hamotzi. If he eats a shiur, he is required to bench. So okay, let's try to understand. So for example, right, you ate bread on Shabbos, any day, right, and you ate bread and there are crumbs, right? So you already ate, you bench, everything, right? You finished, and now there's crumbs, and you want to eat these crumbs. They even later on, right? So you cannot just eat these crumbs. You have to say the blessing, and you have to go wash your hands. Of course, you're not going to say the blessing because most likely you're not going to eat so much, right? But you would say hamotzi on these crumbs. These crumbs 100% hamotzi. And same thing when people. I think we discussed, but just to remind us, same concept with these crumbs when people do like homemade croutons, right, for salad. So what do? They have leftover bread. They cut it in small pieces, put it in the oven, but they dry it, like I don't know. I think it's very fast, maybe half an hour. All it's dry, so you have homemade croutons, and maybe you want to put in your soup and in your salad, whatever you want to do. So it's very nice. But these croutons, they are 100% bread. That's the thing. And or matzah meal. I mean, there's no problem to eat this matzah meal. It's not like even though it looks like a flour, it is like nobody would eat flour. I mean, under normal circumstances. But matzah meal, there is no problem. Take a spoon and eat. Right? It's matzah, but in the tiny pieces.
Rabbi, I have a question about that. Does it mention anything about for the Sfaradim? Because for them it's
yeah. For them it is. Thank you very much. So Sfaradim, we didn't get to it. Yeah, so it is Mezonos, except for Pesach. So they would say anyway. They say Baremine Mezonos anyway, right? But for Ashkenazim, it would be hamotzi, right? Full matzah or pieces of matzah, and this matzah meal. Okay. So but from this matzah meal, they actually people bake, and that's what we do. We don't buy this garbage from the store. I mean, they start selling, like, just think about it. They start selling these Pesach products like a month before the Pesach starts. A month. Like, when did they bake it? Like, even before that. And these crazy things, these cakes, they stay fresh for another few weeks. If you want to eat, there is no problem. They're still fresh. Fresh meaning that it's a lot of preservative. All of the garbage in the world I added there, right? So many years ago we started baking, and it's very simple. You just grind this matzah. You can buy matzah milk, but it's cheaper. Just whatever matzah is left from Pesach. Usually it's people buy extra. They do not know how much they're going to use. So we grind that matzah. We don't, like, of course we don't throw the food, but of course you don't want to eat matzah like after Pesach. So we grind it and then use it and bake it from this. There is no problem, and that's what people do.
Just another question: what would happen if you used, because the thing with the matzah meal, I think the problematic thing would be because it's in powder, right? So let's say you want to sprinkle it on your soup, or you want to sprinkle it on somewhere, and its consistency is, you first of all, you cannot determine how much you have spread, and its consistency is really spread thin. What happens in such cases?
That's a very good question. So I would say don't do it, because it's very questionable situation, right? So first of all, so let me say what is not questionable. What is not questionable, that this little sprinkle is not going to cover the soup. You understand? So even if you say, let's say like simpler example that you get, simpler, right? You have not in the soup, you have a few crumbs, right? So you ate these few crumbs bread. Of course, you wash your hands, you say the blessing, hamotze, but these crumbs do not cover anything. So in order to for other food to be covered by hamotze, by bread, so you have to eat. So we go according to a little stricter opinion. So you have to eat kibeitza, meaning two kizeisim. So it's like 56 grams, right? Two ounces, a little less than 2 ounces, right? But according to other, so if you're going to eat 2 ounces in 9 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, ideally, up to 9 minutes, so all other foods are not covered. So some people who take like a little bite of they said hamotze, he or she like take a little bite, right, and little bite. So after 9, it's the most lenient opinion ever. 9 minutes, so it's 3 times more lenient than the normal opinion, right? So, and if they did not finish, even according to the most lenient opinion, kizayas, right, which is 28 grams, one little less than 1 ounce. If they did not finish, so all other foods are not covered. So they have to say the separate blessing. So some people, we have like used. We don't have guests any longer for whatever reason, but many years ago when we used to have guests like every Shabbos, on day, on night, like it was madhouse. It was a little too much, but we have a guest, special lady, right? And she did not eat, did not like bread, period. I mean, so of course she would say the blessing with everybody, but she would like break a tiny piece and eat, like tiny, like I don't know, like a nail size. You understand? So of course, we told her, but she said no, but this, by that. It was like very, very annoying to deal with her, right? We said all other foods not covered. Okay, you don't want to eat bread for whatever reason. It's your own business. You don't have to explain me, right? But all other foods are not covered. So and she was like refusing. So I told her. So you make me a vessel, a one who is putting stumbling block in front of the blind, right? You come to my house, you eat food without blessing, and now and Hashem says, as we learned in 470 pages before, right? 468 pages before this. So Hashem said, if you eat my food without blessing, you're a thief. So now I told her, like, she was shocked. I mean, I said, you make me the accomplice to your crime, that you eat without blessing. So you say the blessing. So she was like nervous, and nobody said blessing. I said, okay. I mean, that's what you choose. You refuse to eat bread. That's what we do. I mean, you understand? So, but so this little crown, the few crumbs are not going to cover anything. Okay.
Sorry, I just want to add just one small thing. It's, I think from the last class we were discussing about certain breads that are compositions, right? Like rye bread and things like that are compositions. So when it comes to that, how, it could be maybe difficult to calculate. You have to really calculate the exact kazait of the wheat, or you can rely on the fact that, let's say you have 28 grams of rye bread, or 56 grams of kibetza of rye bread or cornbread that's a mix. How would you go about calculating a kazait? Would you
you're asking a very good question, especially if you don't want to eat much. Exactly. So if you want to eat only like few slices, and it says that's the only solution that I have is to call kashrus agency, ask them the question. That's the solution, because you're right. It could be okay. It could say cornbread, but and wheat only. I don't know, like maybe 50%, maybe less than 50%. I have no idea. I mean, we don't buy this cornbread. We don't make this cornbread, but technically it could be minority. And same with better examples than bread cereals. So you never know what the blessing, like. Not what blessing we know. So if it has wheat flour, so you see in ingredients, you say blessing. It doesn't matter. It's only 2%, 3%. It doesn't matter. I mean, they don't give you percentage, but okay, you say the blessing. But the question is after the blessing. After you finish, you ate the bowl of cereal. So okay, you ate a lot, but do I say blessing or not? I don't know. You understand? So, but this especially OU. They're so amazing, right? Orthodox Union, they answer your question maybe in two days, and then sometimes I would send them pictures, and I found few things that had kashrus symbol, and I went to their website, and I did not have, I didn't see. I mean, usually I don't do that, but in that specific time, I said, like, let's check, and they didn't have it in their list. So one time, it was illegally added. So somebody used the kosher symbol without asking OU. I mean, that's what they told me. But second time, it was also not on the list, but they told me that this company asked them specifically not to list them. So meaning that this item is not searchable. So if you go in a search, is it kosher? So of course, I mean, the Google would direct you to OU list, right? So, but they don't want, for whatever reason, this item to be searchable, even though they pay the kashrus agency. You understand? It's very interesting. So, I mean, but I have very pleasant experience with working with them in another Californian company also. What was it? SKS, I think, also. They also, like, people put their stamp. It was about mushrooms, right? We want to buy mushrooms, and it was a kosher sign. Okay, no problem. And then I went to this company website, and it was not there. And I called and I did it all after I already received the mushrooms, right? So I called this website and said, how come? Like, do you have certification? And they said, no, we're in process of work on it. Like, you normal? So they were in process getting certified, and they already put stamp that is kosher. You understand? So I called the company, and they say, yes, we are working it. They have no right to put it, and they put it. They take out the kosher sign from the website, from the mushrooms. Okay. So, and they allowed me to return. Of course, you have to pay the fee if you want to return, but they sent me a label. It was a free return, because maybe they're in process, but as right now, they're not kosher. Especially in mushrooms, they have to check for bugs or for other things. I mean, other thing. Okay. So The solution is, the bottom line is, many times when it's a mixture, and if you eat not enough, so you're not allowed to say the blessing. After blessing, there is a Mezonos. It's not, right? So you have to call them and ask. But if it's mostly wheat, so there is no problem. Okay, continue. Actually, we're going to Beezrat Hashem. We'll be going to this book. We discuss cereals also. Okay, so continue. Actually, let me reread it. Just make sure that we don't miss anything. So it says, bread or matzahs, even if ground into these fine particles, is still considered bread. Okay, as we explained. Thus, in an unlikely event that one wishes to eat plain uncooked matzah meal, so but as we said, there is no problem. Take a spoon and you can eat it, no problem. Matzah flour, again, matzah flour, it's completely cooked. It's not like raw flour. Or breadcrumbs. He is required to make hamotzi if he is shiur. Shiur is a minimum amount, right? As we said, according to one opinion is 1 kizais, but we go by the 2 kizaisim. Okay, whatever, you can go by either opinion, no problem. I go by 2. Okay. If he is shiur, he is required to bench. Okay. Meaning say birchas hamazon. Matzah meal and matzah flour products, such as matzah balls and Passover cakes, are discussed below. See paragraph 5a. So I mean, we're going to get to it. Okay, no problem. Regarding the product breaded with matzah meal, maybe it's your question. It's similar. Coating, for example, fried fish, chicken schnitzel. See paragraph 4. So what we said paragraph 4, it was very long time ago. Just to remind us, we said if it's added just to to improve the flavor of the fish, so it's for sure it's secondary. So most of the time, all of this like if it's only sprinkle a little, it's of no consequence. But if it's like a thick covering, right, then it would be more serious. And if it's made of the flour, you're going to make on this fish barem and Mezonos, right, and it's going to cover the whole fish, of course. Number 4, a practical suggestion. Any product made with bread or matzah can be made in any way that they are definitely not required hamotzi and will not and will also be exempt from birchas hamazon by using the following procedure. So technically, here he said, if you don't want to say hamotzi, right? If you don't want these products considered bread, and you don't want to say birchas hamazon for whatever reason, so they say what? Break the bread or matzah into small pieces less than kizais. That's it. So we said before. Boil the bread pieces in water for about 1 minute. Continue in a usual manner with whatever recipe is being used. Okay, so let's continue reading and we're going to explain. After boiling the bread, the bread is no longer halachically classed as bread. For example, by using this procedure, one can make Mezonos French toast. There is a slice of French toast which can be eaten without washing hamotzi or benching. I mean, for me, for me personally, it does not make sense. But okay, but I'm going to explain what he's saying. So if in event that you don't want to wash your hands, you don't want to say birchas hamazon for whatever reason, right? So he said, make these pieces less than kizais and boil it. So it's going to be according to all of the opinions, at least most of the opinions, right? That if less than kizais, you boil it, and then after you boil it at least 1 minute. I mean, if you boil bread in 1 minute, I mean, it's going to be like mushi. I'm not sure how can you do what you can do with that, but it's a different story. And then he said, continue with a regular recipe. So in order to do this French toast in this way, right? So you would boil these pieces, so less like tiny pieces of this French of this bread, and then put it in egg. I mean, let it dry, I guess, and and because it's too much water, it's saturated with water, so you let it dry. Then you put it in the egg and put it on a pan. I think it's my personal opinion. So just saying Birchas Hamazon, it would be faster. Go and wash your hands, would be like less headaches than go through all of these steps. Faster for sure, less work for sure. Then Birchas Hamazon, how long it takes? Like 4 minutes, 5 minutes? Okay, maybe you have a special kavana, so you say in 7 minutes. Okay, but that's it. So, but go through all of these steps and how many like dishes and pans you're going to get dirty. I don't know. For me, it does not make sense. But okay, so but in case of the need, so you can go away with that. Okay, so one more time, like the concept is less than a kezais and cooked. So it could be cooked in any liquid, doesn't matter what liquid, right? Considered to be cooked. So it, according to many opinions, it's no longer considered bread. Continue. Number 5, application. Any questions on what we said? Or we continue? Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you said something, when you were mentioning this about cooking the bread and so on and so forth. What is the reason why boiling it? Because from what I understand, I think if you fry it or something like that, that's what changes the status, right? So where does the boiling come in?
Boiling. Also, okay, so when you cook it, so it's like cooking becomes the last. So I'm going to give you two answers. It's not 2 parts of the answer. So cooking is becoming the last step of the preparation. So we're going to according to the last step. For example, we have bagels. So everybody likes. Most of the people like bagels. So how do they make bagels? They make it why they like so thick and so like nice, right? So why they cook it first? They make it like in a form. They cook it first in boiling water. I'm not sure for how many minutes. They take out and put it in the oven and bake it. So since the last process is some last step of the process is baking, so it is bread. But if the last process was cooking, for example, you do pasta, right? So you make the same dough, right? You dry it and then you cook. So it's 100% Mezonos. So all of the cooked products, even we're talking about exactly same dough, exactly the same consistency. You cook it. Doesn't matter how much you eat, it's never going to be bread. You're never going to say hamotzi. You're never going to say birchas hamazon. Doesn't matter. You ate, 5 pounds, right? But here, when it's the last step of the process is baking, it's a bread. Doesn't matter. You bake inside of the oven, on top, in a frying pan. Doesn't matter. So that's that's one answer for you. Right, so because of the last, and second part of the answer is actually since when you cook even for 1 minute, so like the bread like absorbs a lot of water, right? So it does not look it changes the appearance of the bread. Yeah. So when I was saying not everybody agree, and I was meaning Mishnah Brura. So Mishnah Brura, I think it's from Shulchan Aruch, but since it was some time ago, I don't want to say as a fact, right? So one second.
Yeah, sorry.
So they add another point if it looks like bread. So they say if it's small. So I according to those authorities, even if it's smaller than kezais, and it looks like bread, so according to them it is bread. So but if it's less than kezais and does not look like bread, I mean it's like falling apart. Like sometimes you want to put pieces of bread. I mean, I don't do it, but I saw some people they put pieces of bread in their soup, right? It's a chicken soup. They rip pieces of bread, put in them. So after sometimes like they mushy, they move around like they swimming in the plates. They don't look much like bread any longer. So that's the thing. Yeah. Okay. So that's 2 parts of the answer. Got it? Continue or any other question?
No. What I was saying is, I mean, if you're going to talk about the bread not being the same consistency, the same thing applies to the matzah meal, right? Because
Exactly.
you have made it so thin, and that's where it was coming, because it said about the matzah meal that being the question. But anyways, I think the last process, which is being cooked, that makes really a lot of sense, because then it really clarifies everything. I see the point now. Okay.
Yeah, but here no, that's last process is not enough, because if we said it's if it still looks like bread, if it's larger than kizayis, so it's still bread. So actually, and at least according to this, so we don't want to like overburden people. We don't want to like overcomplicate things. So according to simple view, let's take two things into consideration. Larger than kizayis, it's bread. That's it. So even if it's cooked less than kizayis, it's a problem. So it's for sure, like even so large pieces, they're more recognizable as a bread. Okay, so we go into the next section, applications. So now we have matzah balls. Okay, so they say the bracha on the matzah ball is Brei Mezonos. Okay, regarding a soup with matzah ball, in it see chapter 4. Okay, so let's see. There is commentary. Even though the end product matzah ball is larger than kizayis, nevertheless, since it was originally less than kizayis, and it was boiled, the bracha Brei Mezonos. So how do they make this matzah meal? Right, so matzah balls, right? So they take matzah, they grind it, and they take this flour, and they add eggs and I don't know whatever spices, salt, whatever the spices they add, and they cook it in a soup, right? You usually cook it in a chicken soup or other soups, and you have this matzah balls. So on matzah balls we say Mezonos. So they say why is it Mezonos? Even though these balls sometimes, especially with the liquid, they absorb a lot of liquid soup, and that's why they're so tasty, right? So they say, even though nevertheless we say Brei Mezonos, right? Because it was originally made from tiniest pieces, so it was not bread. So you cannot compare this to actual bread. So what we just said before, if you have real piece of bread and you cook it, so you say hamotzi, but this was reconstituted from the flour. It's not exactly the same, so we say Brei Mezonos. Okay, so it was B, matzah meal latke. Chremzil. Okay. Matzah meal latke and chremzil, I'm not sure what is it, are generally made the mixing matzah meal, eggs, oil, water, and spices into a batter, and frying them in oil. The bracha for these products, Brei Mezonos. I mean, it's obvious the Brei Mezonos because they usually fried it with a lot of oil, right? And small pieces, of course, right? And a lot of eggs, right? Oil, water. So, and it was made into batter. So batter means that it was liquid, right? I mean, more liquid than the dough for bread. Okay, so in most of the time it's going to be actually Mezonos. Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay. Next one, C, Passover cakes. The bracha for Passover cake made from matzah flour or matzah meal is Brei Mezonos. Okay. Brei Mezonos. The bracha for Passover cake made from potato starch is Chavav Shechakol. Okay, so on Passover we have to be very careful and see what blessing is to make on this product. So even though it looks like 100% as cake, So they make, in Passover several layer cakes, rainbow cakes, all of these interesting cakes that they usually sell during the year, right? But just because it looks exactly like this does not mean that it made from flour, right? It could be made from a potato starch, right? Potato starch, and of course on potato starch we say shechakol, and you always have to say see the ingredients, and many times there is a next to the kosher sign there is a writing what blessing to make. Okay. So after if it's from potato starch, they say in the commentary say so you have to say Borei Nefashos. Right. Borei Nefashos is blessing what we say after foods that like all other foods. Okay. On which you say shechako. Okay. Continue. Bread pudding, challah kugel, bread stuffings. The minchak is to make Borei Mezonos of all type of challah and bread puddings. Okay. Similar the bracha on bread or matzah meal, stuffed stuff is Borei Mezonos. Okay, so let's try to understand what is it. So we have bread pudding, challah kugel. So challah kugel, they cut challah in pieces and reconstitute, put it in a like aluminum container, put it back in the oven, like recook it, right? Bread stuffings. So technically, it's not cooked. It's not. It's like even if you put back into the oven, I mean, it's you're rebaking it. So technically, the blessing should have been chamotzi on all of these things. But authors say the minchak is to make Borei Mezonos. So tradition, right, is to say. So it's not. That's what people are doing. So that's became like norm. But I guess if you want to go stricter and say no, it's 100% bread, you can say chamotzi. There is no problem whatsoever. I mean, that's only tradition, right? So it says the minchak is to make Borei Mezonos on all types of challah and bread puddings, right? Stuffings. Similarly, the bracha for bread or matzah meal stuffing is Borei Mezonos. So they stuff. I'm not sure where they stuff, in chicken or somewhere, right? So still they say Borei Mezonos. Even technically, it was not cooked; it was baked, so it should be bread. The bracha requirements for stuffed meat or stuffed chicken are as follows. Okay. One should first make Borei Mezonos and eat some of the stuffing. He should then make shechakol and eat some of the meat without stuffing. Okay, so they stuff challah. I mean, we never made it. I mean, some people do it. Okay, so they stuff the chicken inside. They put pieces of challah. So of course, all of the fat from the chicken goes inside, and probably very delicious. I never tried, but logically it seems like it, right? So of course, as a story with the matzoh ball soup, just to remind us. So exactly the same scenarios here. These two things are never mixed. So stuffing is stuffing, and chicken is chicken. So you say first blessing on the Borei Mezonos on the stuffings, and the second blessing you say on the chicken itself. There's no problem, right? Two separate things. Same would be what is it? With the matzoh ball soup. On all other soups, we said they're mixed together. It's one dish. So technically you say one blessing and it's covered the whole soup. But matzoh ball is so big, they're not mixed with the soup. It's not one mixture. Then these large pieces, like pieces of chicken, right? You have chicken soup with pieces, they never mix. You need to say, I mean, if it's only soup, so you say only one blessing, right? But if you have, for example, you have some Mezonos in there. Okay, so you say on the Mezonos and then you say on chicken, and then you cover the whole soup because they're not mixed. But if small pieces of chicken, like they cut it in cubes, small pieces, so of course it's covered by, if it's majority vegetables, so you say barepricha adama on this soup, and the chicken is covered, and liquid, of course, it's covered. Okay. Okay. So matzah brei. So matzah brei, it's very interesting thing, and we said that's actually not such an easy thing. So I mean, it's a special case. It's a special case. So let's see. The bracha on matzah brei. Okay, so matzah brei is how do you make matzah brei? So you break matzah. You take the actual matzah, break it in pieces, put it pour hot water, boiling water on top of it, right? It soaks in, let it soak for, I don't know, for a few minutes. And then you put, you add eggs, you add spices, and you fry on a frying pan with the oil. Like usually it's more oil than necessary for it not to stick, right? So that's what they call matzah brei. The bracha on matzah brei, which is deep fried. So okay, there is the matzah brei is entirely covered by oil. So usually people don't do it, but I mean maybe some do. So if that's what you do a deep fry. That's very unhealthy. Just my own comment. Is baremine Mezonos. So if it's covered completely by liquid, we said it's 100% cooking, no difference. The bracha achrona is ala michia. Okay, so it was Mezonos, you say ala michia. Even if a large quantity is eaten, birchas hamazon would not be required. So as we said, for cooked products, you never say birchas hamazon. In this case, deep fry oil is one of the liquids, so we never say birchas hamazon. The bracha requirements for matzah brei, which is in the pan fried with no oil or with some oil but not deep fried, is questionable. It should be only eaten is one way chamotzi on bread. So I mean, not on bread, but on matzah. Let's say if it's the middle of the Pesach, so you said the blessing on the matzah, regular matzah, eat kizayis. Eat kizayis, and it should be enough, and you can eat this matzah brei. The thing is to say that you can fry it without oil. I don't think so. Like only with little oil, so it would not stick. Like sometimes people they spray, right? They have this oil spray, cooking spray. It's not going to be enough. I don't think so. You need more time. It's like I mean that's I never tried. So usually when we make this matzah brei, so we add more oil, not as much to cover it completely, that's too much, but a little more oil, that would put this matzah brei in this questionable situation, right? So that's why they say eat, consider, go by stricter opinion. What is it? What if it is considered bread? So eat the actual matzah or bread if it's not Pesach, right? And of course, this matzah brei is included, covered. Matzah brei, but as we said before, you must eat at least one kizayis in order for other foods to be covered. So you cannot make a blessing, eat a little piece, and think that these other foods are going to be covered. It's not true. So at least one kizayis, but some people trying to eat, go by two kizayis. Continue. Matzah breis, which uniquely require baremine Mezonos, can be made by following suggestion offered in paragraph 4. So okay, so if they, as they said, if you cook it for 1 minute and then you want to fry it, so in this case it's going to be baremine Mezonos according to all of the opinions, right? Because it's less than kizayis, small pieces, and boiled. Okay. Next one, French toast. We almost finished. French toast, bread dipped in egg and fried, is a subject of either hamortzi or baremine mizonos, depending on how it is made, right? Hamotzi, French toast. Okay, so what does it mean? French toast made with a whole slice of bread required hamotzi and benching. That's it. So if it's whole slice of bread or big, I would say, I'm not sure. Okay, since it is larger than kizais, here we go. It retains the bread status regardless of how it is fried. Okay, so if it's larger than kizais, doesn't matter. You fry it with a lot of oil, a little oil, doesn't matter. So try to go with. I mean, as I said before, usually they do the whole slice. So in this case, there is no question. You always say hamotzi on this bread. Okay. Okay. So all right, continue. French toast made with a piece smaller than kizais, but fried without oil or with just enough oil to prevent scorching requires hamotzi and benching, as we said before, because it did not lose its appearance as a bread. And of course, so benching only if he ate enough. So if it's less than kizais, so I'm not sure, maybe 1/3 of the kizais, so he has to eat 3 pieces or 4 pieces. It depends on the size. So minimum for amount to say birchas hamazon over, you need eat kizais, right? So it's rabbinical. Continue. Frying without oil is likened to the baking. That's we said before. There is no problem. So if you add just a little oil or the oil spray, it's 100% bread, even if it's pieces less than kizais. Therefore, the bread retains its bread status, even though it is smaller than kizais. Okay, we said that, but so even smaller than kizais, and it is fried with little or no oil. Commentary. The bracha requirement for French toast, which is made from a piece smaller than kizais and fried with oil, but not deep fried, is questionable. One who wishes to eat French toast made this way should make first hamotzi and ordinary bread and eat kizais. So as we said before, this questionable situation starts when person eat these pieces of bread less than kizais and more liquid than necessary, more oil than necessary, the minimum oil. So that's he entered this questionable situation. So they say, as we said before, eat the regular bread, you eat the regular matzah, and there is no problem. But for Sepharim, this regular matzah is not going to work during the whole year. Why? Because they say baremine mizonos on this month, so this is not going to work for them. So in this case, they have to eat the actual bread. You don't want to eat this French toast. Continue. Mezonos French toast. French toast made with a piece smaller than kizais, but deep fried with oil. There is the bread is entirely covered by oil. So in deep fry meaning completely covered. Requires baremine mizonos and ala mechia. And the commentary say even a large quantity is eaten, birchas hamazon would not be required. So why? Because that's what we say. If for all of the cooked mizonos, doesn't matter how much you eat spaghetti or ravioli, whatever you eat. So you eat a lot, right? So you never say birchas hamazon. For bread products, yeah. So bread products that were baked, right, like cakes or cookies, crackers, depends how much. Depends how much you eat. You say birchas hamazon. Deep frying is halachically likened to boiling. Okay, since the bread is smaller than kizais and was cooked, is no longer considered bread. So, as we said, it loses its appearance of the bread. Continue. French toast may be made in a way that will exempt it from hamotzi and birchas hamazon. French toast by using a simpler procedure outlined in paragraph C4. So as we said, if you wanna cook it, pre-cook it, and only then make the make French toast, there is no problem. So since the last process was cooking, we said in this case you say what is it? Brei Mezonos. Okay, so we can stop here. I guess any questions on any subjects? Go ahead.
Yes, Rob. So as far as what you were saying on the French toast, it all depends on how it's cooked, not so much what you add on it, like
those
fruit or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Those things are irrelevant. You can put eggs. You can put cheese to melt on it. I mean, you can add many things. Those things are irrelevant. So because why they are irrelevant? Because they added to improve the taste of the bread. So bread is always a staple meal, always food, always the most important meal, food, and all of the things like to improve the bread. That's it. So, okay, go ahead. What else?
Okay, so awesome. Would that go the same for like when you're baking challah bread as well? Like when I know you said it before, like if you wanted to put like sugar on it or raisins or fruits or anything like that?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. And that's actually Ashkenazi custom. So Ashkenazi put some put even honey, right, inside of the bread. But sometimes honey sometimes it's a problem, right? If they put honey, usually the bread does not rise good when you put a lot of honey, right? So they put more ingredients in order they say it's to rise. So that's too much of junk is added to the challah. But all of this, like fruits, like berries, and not fruit, but berries, like people do it with a cranberry, right? Dried cranberry, it's very delicious. With a blueberry, with I don't know, with raisins, with whatever you want, right? So it's just to improve the bread. So even if it's according to, as we said before, according to Sephardic tradition, even if it's a little sweeter, they consider it's like a cake, whatever. So it's not good. They would not say so birchas. So they would not say hamotzi. Okay, not all of them, but most of them would not say hamotzi. But for Ashkenazim, there is the problem. Yeah, you can add all the sweet because like if you think about it, like the idea of the bread did not change. It's still the main part of your meal. And you eat it with a soup, with a chicken, with a fish, with whatever salad. It's just because it's a little sweeter, like does not change the status of the bread. Go ahead. Any other questions? The biggest scam. I'm going to tell what was the biggest scam. There may be bigger scam, but the scam is like when you fly in a plane, right? So give you the kosher meal, and there is a Mezonos roll. So it is a roll, and if you taste it, 100% bread. There is no sweetness, nothing. So, and they call it Mezonos. Okay, so it's. You understand? So I'm not sure according to whose opinion. Of course, there is somebody certified as a Mezonos, but it's not true. It's not true. But in order to be Mezonos, even according to some opinions, you have to feel the sweetness, right? You have to feel that it's a lot of sugar in there. That you have to feel that it was made with juice, and this juice must be like majority ingredients, like I don't know, like 51% of apple juice, let's say, and 49% of water. But it's a plain bread. Okay. So what else? Any other questions? Any topic? Okay. So if not, so we stop here. But please remember to add in Shmona Esrei, check your siddur. It's very important to add this line about the rain and what is it and wind, right? That we started adding just a few days ago, because if you don't add it during the prayers, you have to go back and start Shmona Esrei again. That's how it is important. Okay, so check your siddur if you're not still not saying it, but otherwise, good night and until good Shabbos and until Monday, Beezrat Hashem. So we're going to continue with our new class on Monday, Halachos for women. Thank you very much, but we encourage all the men to attend because we draw the parallel. That's what women do, and but that's what is required of men also, right? So it is for women, but also with additions for men. Thank you. Good night.